about is make sure in your organizations these conversations are happening across functions, because we're so siloed today. We go to work, we just start working only with the people in our sort of project. But true sort of expansion of your possibilities happens when you go talk to somebody from sales and marketing and engineering and design. So make sure they're cross-functional, make sure they are cross-hierarchical, and there are lots of techniques there, and make sure they're also cross-generational. Because the world, for the first time in human evolution, the maximum number of old people or elderly people are retiring. Because of the post-World War boom and the so-called baby boomers, it's a phenomenon around the world. So you need to make sure that for the first time in the workforce, we almost have 4 different generations of workers. So how do you preserve the wisdom of the people who have been there for a long time, and then how do you let the younger talent sort of take their roles? Make sure they're cross-generational and also cross-location. It's very important that as companies become global, you want to make sure that talent that exists in one part of the organization is accessible to other parts of the organization. So this is the quote that some of my customers have attributed to me. There's a slide that says, because another key takeaway, remember this, one good conversation, and I can interview any one of you and you can go back and tell me, oh, that conversation led me to this job, that conversation led me to do my PhD. Has happened to me, has happened to you. So one metric that I would like all of you to reflect on a Friday night when you're having drinks with your friends or having a dinner with your family is, what are the conversations you had in a particular week? If all conversations are about projects and deadlines, you're not doing enough. So make sure at least every other week you're having a good conversation with someone you don't work with. The reason I'm here, because of the conversation that I had with people that I had nothing to do with. The reason I was a speaker for Mrs. Clinton is because of people I'm talking to. You need to expand your possibilities. You need to let other people know what you do, what you care about. And the beauty is, when they go talk about you, even when you are not there, that's when your world expands. So, some of my workshops, I ask this question: who is thinking about your career and your growth when you're sleeping? When you're sleeping, obviously you're not thinking about it. And it would most likely be your spouse. If you're an entrepreneur, your spouse is definitely awake and thinking, what the hell is this person doing? Why can't you go for a regular job and get a regular salary and benefits? What's the fun? And then in one of the workshops, somebody shouted, my mother-in-law thinks about it too. So, but it's something to reflect upon, is who are those individuals that are waiting to open the world for you? And that's really what mentorship is. So the more conversations you have, the more you share your purpose, the more you want to talk about how you want to be significant, how you want to contribute, what legacy you want to leave. Let it go into the world. Who knows who is talking to whom, and then boom, something happens. So one good conversation can change your destiny. I'm sure you're all here because of one good conversation at some point in time. So whoever was that person that you had conversation with, remember, gratitude is extremely important. Be grateful. Like their Facebook page, send them a thank you card, give them a call, send them a text, because gratitude is how this world operates. And again, last week, after 2 days of gender intelligence, I spent 2 days on the gratitude conference. It's just amazing how much we ignore thanking people. So if there have been people who have made a significant difference, just give them a call or send a thank you card. Written cards are great now. I get a phone call every time I send a written card. Don't WhatsApp, don't email them. So very quickly, all of you are HR leaders, and I think Yvonne is going to talk more about, I call a mentoring program as a leadership gym. If I want to know in my company who are the people that care about their health, what do? I don't do a survey. Because everybody says, of course I care about my health. But when you open the gym, nobody shows up. So mentoring program is, in my mind, it's your leadership gym. Who signs up? I want to share my knowledge. Who signs up? I want to learn. Are the people you want to focus on. People who don't go to the gym, yeah, they leave, it's okay. No problem. So it can really help your people to self-identify, and it also helps your people to find the sponsors. Because we all need human beings, we are all very tribal in nature. We are never meant to be alone. We only come alone and leave alone on this planet. But everything else we're supposed to do together. Eat together, go to a concert together, learn together. So when you create a good mentoring program, it facilitates people to have those sponsors and internal champions. It can improve your engagement in the organization. And again, Yvonne is going to talk about some of the actual numbers. When you create this kind of a healthy environment of sharing and learning, you can actually get a lot of direct benefits. And last is, this has been in news about talent diversity and talent mobility. Because when you as leaders know who are those sort of jewels or gems in an organization, instead of losing them, and it happened in many of our customers where because of these interactions, because of the conversations that are happening across departments, leaders are saying, oh, that person I want on this particular project. So otherwise what happens is they get bored and they just leave. So very important for improving sort of diversity of talent, as well as also ensuring mobility within the organization so they don't go to a competitor, they stay with you. So I talked about having a mentor is a luxury because you have other people thinking about you. Is that a luxury? I can think about myself all day long, and I can write about how great I am on my LinkedIn all day long. But if my mentees are saying how great I am, isn't that more sort of more relevant? Because on LinkedIn, all the 450 million people are superstars. Then what's the problem in the world today? Why is the world so bad nowadays? Because everybody's saying how great they are. But I would like my opportunity to return with somebody else, not me. So being a mentor or having a mentor is a luxury because other people are thinking about you. They're saying, hey Ravi, have you spoken here? Hey Ravi, you should go here. Great. I'm not doing anything, I'm sleeping sometimes. And I wake up and I get this beautiful text message or an email. And being a mentor is smart because you want other people to write your story, not yourself. So very important. So I want to end this with, I truly believe that you all have a tremendous amount of wisdom that you can share, which is a direct representation of your leadership. And there's so much in this world to learn. Every day I'm learning something new about my phone, something about marketing, something about sales, something about life, meditation, exercise, food, just amazing. And the more you're learning, the more you're healthier. Just prove it over and over again. And we're not going to be young all the time. I would like to be young in my mind, but body is going to get older. But if you want to be young all the time, be learning all the time. There's lots of experiments they've done for people who live up to 100. These people, men and women, equal, they're always learning. They're always trying to find energy in something new. So I want to end with, mentoring is really no rocket science. I have done rocket science. Getting a 787 plane to fly is very, very, very complicated. And whereas being a mentor is not complicated. You just have to let go all your titles and your sort of greatness that you think, and just be a human being. And you'll be amazed when you meet such good mentees who are really, really hungry for your wisdom, how your wisdom flows from you. It's just unbelievable. So I call it mentoring culture in the organization is working as one, because we're no longer, 4 people or 5 people. When we become large organizations, we want to act like one, behave like one. So with that, thank you, and I'll be happy to take more questions. Like I said, I have a few copies of the book. We will make sure we'll send you all an ebook, and you can learn more about how crazy I am about this topic. And this is the only way to keep the world thriving. There is no other way. Not buildings, not social networks like etc., etc. It is human networks that will keep this world together, that will keep our communities together. So I was telling last night at the dinner, if you want Calgary to become a very thriving, bustling city like Silicon Valley, let's encourage all the millennials, let's encourage entrepreneurship, let's encourage more younger women to take up sort of challenging careers, because it doesn't matter what your government is. In India, we don't care what the government does, right? People are entrepreneurial. People say, okay, against all odds, we'll survive. So there are ways to create our own success, sort of create our own destiny. And so let's work together as one. Let's be mentors. Let's have mentors, and really achieve both success and significance in our life. Thank you again for patiently listening, and I'm happy to answer questions during the Q&A portion. I think now I guess Yvonne is next.
Yes, I'll happily introduce her. Yvonne E.L. Thank you so much, Ravi.